Jungkook suddenly knelt in front of Jimin during day 2 of the Rogers Stadium concert, leaving the entire audience in stunned silence as they waited for an unexpected answer. Jimin, visibly shocked, gave a response that immediately sent the stadium into an eruption of cheers, followed by a hug, confetti, and fire effects igniting right afterward. But what made everyone even more curious was when Jungkook said, "I've been waiting for this moment," and Jimin gave an answer that made everything even more dramatic, until the giant screen suddenly displayed one mysterious sentence: "The night isn't over yet." Subscribe to Jimin Gallery for more exclusive stories, daily updates, and deep dives into the world of our favorite star, Park Jimin. Glowing Star Bell. Day 2 of the concert at Rogers Stadium in Canada suddenly turned into one of the most shocking moments when Jungkook did something absolutely unexpected. In the middle of the energetic atmosphere and deafening cheers filling the stadium, everyone's attention suddenly shifted to Jungkook as he walked toward Jimin with a serious expression. Without much warning, Jungkook then knelt in front of Jimin, seemingly proposing to him on stage. The moment caused the previously roaring crowd to suddenly fall silent, as if millions of eyes watching the scene were holding their breath to see Jimin's reaction. Jimin, who looked genuinely surprised, eventually accepted the proposal. Jungkook immediately responded by pulling him into a warm embrace, making the simple moment feel even more emotional. The two remained in each other's arms as the audience began cheering again, their voices echoing louder and louder throughout Rogers Stadium. Moments after the hug, the atmosphere on stage changed dramatically. The crowd erupted into even louder cheers as stage fire effects burst to life, creating a spectacular scene behind them. The lights and flames served as a dramatic backdrop, making the moment feel like a grand celebration. For those in attendance, the incident became one of the most unexpected moments of day 2 of the concert. The brief silence before Jimin gave his answer made the atmosphere even more intense, before it finally exploded into cheers when Jungkook embraced him. The moment also became a hot topic because it happened spontaneously in the middle of the ongoing performance. The combination of Jimin's shocked expression, Jungkook's bold decision to kneel on stage, the embrace following the proposal, and the dramatic stage effects made the scene look incredibly dramatic and unforgettable for the audience. With cheers continuing to echo throughout the stadium and the stage filled with lights and flames, Jungkook and Jimin's moment during day 2 at Rogers Stadium became a sweet scene that left a lasting impression. For the fans who witnessed it, the unexpected incident felt like a surprise-filled celebration that made the concert night even more special. Jimin, who still looked shocked, did not immediately give an answer. He simply stood frozen, staring at Jungkook, who was still kneeling in front of him. A few seconds seemed to last forever as the audience's cheers gradually faded into a tense silence filled with anticipation. No one knew what Jimin would do next. Jungkook also began to look nervous. His confident smile slowly turned into an awkward one, as if he himself was starting to panic while waiting for Jimin's answer. He briefly glanced toward the audience before looking back at Jimin, making the atmosphere feel even more tense yet adorable. Seeing Jungkook becoming increasingly nervous, Jimin finally gave a small smile. He then took a few steps closer without saying a word. The audience watching from a distance began cheering again, seemingly sensing that something even more emotional was about to happen on stage. Jungkook remained in his position until Jimin finally reached out his hand. The moment immediately sent the stadium into another eruption of cheers. Jungkook looked relieved before finally standing up and pulling Jimin into a tight embrace, while the screams of the audience echoed throughout the entire arena. Before the excitement could even settle, the music started playing again, and all the stage effects lit up simultaneously. Bright lights, confetti, and bursts of fire made the embrace feel like the climax of a massive performance. Jimin and Jungkook could still be seen smiling amid the roaring crowd, turning those few simple seconds into one of the most dramatic and unexpected scenes of the concert night. The music that had previously filled Rogers Stadium suddenly stopped completely. The stage lights slowly dimmed until the entire arena fell silent, leaving only a single spotlight focused on Jungkook and Jimin. Thousands of spectators seemed to hold their breath in unison, waiting to see what would happen after the proposal. Under the limited light, Jimin still stared at Jungkook with an expression that seemed to mix shock, nervousness, and disbelief. Jungkook, who had previously been kneeling, slowly lifted his face as if he were still waiting for an answer. Those few seconds of silence only made the tension feel even stronger. Instead of speaking immediately, Jimin then stepped closer to Jungkook. He reached out his hand and helped Jungkook stand up. The simple gesture was immediately met with cheers from different parts of the stadium, but Jimin wasn't finished yet. As soon as Jungkook stood up, Jimin suddenly pulled him into a hug first. The moment became a plot twist that instantly transformed the previously tense atmosphere into an explosion of excitement. Jungkook appeared momentarily stunned before finally returning Jimin's embrace tightly. While the two were still embracing, the spotlight slowly widened and the stage lights began to come back on. The music then gradually faded in before transforming into an energetic beat, while the audience's cheers once again shook the entire arena. The few seconds of silence that had just passed seemed to turn into a grand celebration in an instant. At the climax, the stage effects lit up once again as confetti began falling from above. Jimin and Jungkook were still caught up in the emotional atmosphere as the entire arena filled with lights and cheers. The scene became a dramatic climax that made the concert night feel like a moment deliberately designed to leave a lasting impression on everyone who witnessed it. As the atmosphere began to settle, the giant screen behind the stage suddenly displayed close-ups of Jimin and Jungkook's faces. Their expressions, still showing a mixture of nervousness and happiness, were now clearly visible to the entire audience. The moment their faces appeared on the screen, the screams grew even louder, filling the entire stadium. The camera then shifted to capture the reactions of the other members on stage. In this fictional version of the story, they appeared shocked by what had just happened. One member was even seen covering his mouth while laughing, while another applauded with an expression that suggested he still couldn't believe the moment had actually happened in the middle of the concert. Their reactions only made the audience even more excited. As the camera focused on the members laughing and exchanging glances, the giant screen was filled with their surprised expressions. Some of them even seemed to deliberately tease Jungkook and Jimin from a distance, making the two increasingly flustered amid the audience's cheers. Jungkook then lowered his head while laughing shyly, while Jimin appeared to be trying to hide his face because he became even more nervous after realizing that their expressions were being magnified on the stadium screen. Every small movement from the two immediately received an overwhelming response from the audience, as if the entire arena were following every second of the moment. As a finale, all the members gathered around Jungkook and Jimin, clapping and laughing. The music began pounding again, confetti rained down, and the giant screen displayed their happy expressions from various angles. In this fictional version, the combination of the members' reactions, the audience's cheers, and the vibrant stage atmosphere made the moment feel like a truly unforgettable concert climax. Immediately after the hug ended, the music that had previously stopped suddenly returned with a much stronger beat. Colorful confetti began falling from above the stage as moving lights swept across the entire stadium. The audience, which had briefly fallen silent, immediately erupted into screams again, making the atmosphere inside Rogers Stadium even more explosive. Stage fire effects then ignited at several points around the stage, creating dramatic flashes of light behind Jungkook and Jimin. The two briefly turned toward the stage before looking back at each other and smiling. The combination of confetti, lights, music, and roaring cheers made the moment feel like the climax of a massive performance. Amid the increasingly energetic atmosphere, Jungkook then picked up a microphone. Instead of immediately continuing the song, he stood there for a few seconds while looking toward Jimin. The music was gradually lowered, making the thousands of spectators curious once again as they waited to hear what Jungkook would say. With a small smile, Jungkook finally uttered one short sentence. "I've been waiting for this moment." The words immediately sent the audience into another frenzy. Jimin was seen lowering his head with a shy smile, while Jungkook simply chuckled at the audience's increasingly uncontrollable reaction. A few seconds later, the music resumed with full energy. Confetti continued to fill the air, and the fire effects ignited once again alongside the audience's cheers. Jungkook and Jimin stood side by side in the center of the stage, while the other members joined in celebrating the atmosphere. In this fictional version, the entire sequence felt like a dramatic finale that made the concert night even more spectacular. Jimin then took the microphone and stared at Jungkook for several moments before finally smiling. In a calm yet meaningful tone, he said, "If you've been waiting this long, don't stop here." Jungkook immediately fell silent for a few seconds, seemingly caught off guard that Jimin would give an answer that made the atmosphere even more emotional. The audience erupted again when Jungkook's expression was captured by the camera and displayed on the giant screen. He appeared to smile shyly while lowering his head, while Jimin simply chuckled beside him. The other members in this fictional version also reacted enthusiastically, filling the stage with applause and laughter once again. However, just as the music was about to begin, all the stage lights suddenly went out. The giant screen that had previously displayed their faces turned completely black, The stadium was instantly filled with curious screams, while Jungkook and Jimin simply stood under the faint remaining light in the center of the stage. A few seconds later, a single white sentence slowly appeared on the giant screen. "The night isn't over yet." The audience immediately erupted, but before anyone could find out what was about to happen, the screen went dark again, and the next song still did not begin. In this fictional version, the cliffhanger became the perfect ending, leaving the entire audience wondering whether another surprise was still waiting to unfold on stage.